Hi, Jay Massey here with thecashflowdiary.com, and oftentimes I'm asked, how can I become a real estate investor? Becoming a real estate investor is a process. I believe everybody's in a process of becoming something. And one of the cool things about choosing what to become is that there's a path, there's a process to it so that you can follow and duplicate what actually works. If you've ever read the book Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, you know that the process that he espouses is thinking, buying, owning, and then learning to receive $1 million. So you got to think like a millionaire, buy $1 million worth of real estate, own $1 million worth of equity, and then eventually receive $1 million. Another way of looking at that exact same process is understanding that what you think about actually begins to produce a feeling. And once you feel something enough, it tends to produce a certain type of belief. And once you believe something, then and only then do you begin to take action. And then once you've taken action enough, it becomes a habit. Those habits form a character. That character becomes a destiny. It's a process of becoming. That's definitely something I strongly suggest you do, but now you do it consciously. The most important piece in all of that is understanding what do successful real estate investors or just investors in general think about. Those are the things that you and I must continue to do as we become bigger, better, badder investors. In order to do that, we've got to hang around them. We've got to consume their information. We've got to listen to their courses or their podcasts and find a way to make that happen. It was one of the pivotal things that I did. See, you've got to understand, when I first started getting involved in real estate investing, I had a credit score of 398. I couldn't put $75 together, and I definitely didn't have any family or friends who were doing it. So I had to go find a whole new set of people to hang around with and start thinking and doing the things that they were doing. Start believing like they believed so that I could be able to create value in the marketplace in a completely different way. And most importantly, go out there to be able to build clean, safe, affordable housing and provide it to people that need it when it matters most. Today, my wife and I, we do have the privilege of owning hundreds of units across many different states, cell phone tower, commercial real estate, and all kinds of things, including building a resort with some friends. So those are the types of things that you're going to begin to have to understand and begin to think about as you go out there to build and make real estate happen for yourself. Now, the cool thing is that that process can be very, very simple to learn how to think about what other investors are doing. In fact, I happen to produce a podcast that gives you access to lots of entrepreneurs as well as myself on this very topic that can help you begin to understand what does it take to become all those things that you want. So here's what you're going to do. Go over to Cashflow Diary. I'll show you. It's Cashflow Diary Podcast.com. When you get over there, you'll be able to connect to iTunes and be able to download the podcast so that you have the ability to understand and hear more content for absolutely no money. Good luck with that, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time. Howdy, peoples. I'm glad that you absorbed the time. We will definitely, as some have said, make up for that today. So this is good. I'm glad that you're here. My name is Jay. Welcome to another Q&A with Jay. We got lots of Q's. Hopefully I have some of the A's as it relates to the questions that you guys have sent in and submitted to make sure that I'm able to help you in those ways. So what we are going to talk about today, I'm looking for, the presentation disappeared on me. There we go. Got it. So what we're going to be talking about today is a lot of the questions that you guys sent in, which is great. And we'll definitely be going through that as well. But I want to make sure that we talk briefly, very briefly, about some of the things that are upcoming in this particular season, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see. Where are we? So some of you may have noticed, I don't know if you've been over to cashflowdiary.com or not, but we are in the process of running a giveaway. What does that mean? We are giving away 5 copies of the brand new version of the Rich Dad Company cash flow game. So that's right. You guys know that I like the game. They came out with a new version. We said, hey, let's see if we can't give away some extra copies. You do, as you can see, the entry time will end soon. And once it's done, it's done. So don't be like, hey, where's that at? Well, this is your time to actually get in there and try to make that happen. So now is the time for you to go. So here's how that's going to work for you. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go over to cashflowdiary.com, right? When you get there, it's going to look very familiar to you, hopefully. And then that pop-up, as you see, is going to come up. You're just going to click here to enter. Very simple. You're going to scroll down. You're going to answer this very difficult question right here. And then once you pick the correct answer, you're simply going to put in your email address. That's it. That's all you're going to do. You're going to put in your email address, nothing else, no muss, no fuss, no money, nothing, needed, nada, all those types of things. Read the the giveaway rules so that you can understand where it's void and all that other stuff. You probably know where that is anyway. And then if you want to get more entries, share your own link. Share it everywhere you go so that you can have and increase your chances of winning a cash flow board game. So that's how this particular thing works, is that the more times you share, the more entries you get. The more entries you get, the more likely it is that you will win one of the 5 copies, and we will send them and give them to you so that you can go out there and use it and make it happen for yourself. So hopefully that helps. Another thing, as many of you may have received an email. Just want to make sure there is a Black Friday cash flow game going on. Kind of appropriate, huh? A cash flow game going on this Friday. So you have the address. You need to go here to get registered. For those of you that are registered already, excellent. Thank you. Your audiobook is on the way. The registration fee includes a copy of my audiobook. So many of you know the book came out earlier this year. So now you have the audiobook in addition to the actual attendance at the event, and that'll come to you electronically as well so that you have the address. Also, those of you who are going to be there virtually, you too have also the information that you need in order to be able to go and register virtually as well. So you're going to go over here, you're going to click the link just on the events page, and then you're going to get access to the event by clicking, if you're watching online costs nothing. You just got to be there. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit this button right here. Yes, sign me up. That way you'll get the details and information on how to make sure that you are there and able to participate in a live fashion. Again, it'll broadcast on your iPhone, your iPad, your computer. I've heard reports. Some of you have called in saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get our computer. We're going to get a projector, some speakers, and we're going to blow you up on the screen. I'm like, whatever works for you guys, it's fine by me. We'll have the chat room there so that you, as well as your guests, can do it. And again, I'm doing this so that you have a shot at not only seeing how it's done, but actually getting some benefit in the sense of being able to build your business at the same time and watching all this go down. So remember, the Black Friday event is obviously this Friday. So hopefully that will be of some assistance to you. We're doing our best to do everything that we can to figure out what you guys could use or need from us in order to take your business to the next levels, whatever that might be. this is your first time here, you might not know me. That's fine. It's okay. Welcome. Glad you're here. Jay, hi. I've been doing real estate for a little bit, and that's what most people know me for: building real estate, building business, creating cash flow, using real estate related assets. My wife and I started with very, very little, you could say, in the way of resources, and we've been able to start there and build to a point to where now we get the privilege of helping other people get their first apartment buildings. Other people get involved in commercial real estate, international real estate, cell phone towers, all kinds of really fun stuff. And that's exactly what I want to do. Is I want to help you guys do that by answering your questions, whatever they may be. You may also notice that there's a podcast that comes out Mondays and Thursdays, cashflowdiarypodcast.com. That way you have the ability to join and listen in more and more and more and more. In fact, I have it on good authority that that this Thursday, some of you are wondering, okay, well, how can I run a cash flow game? I bet you if you listen to Thursday's episode, you will hear that again so that you have another flavor of how to do it, just in case you can't participate on Black Friday. See, I got you covered. I got you covered all the time, trying to make sure that you're able to go out there and get business done. If you are watching on YouTube or some other channel other than cashflowdiary.tv and wondering why I haven't answered your question, it's simply because you either A, didn't send it in, and in order to send in questions ahead of time, there should be an update link, be in the know, be an update link just below the video. So that's number one. Number two, you can just go over to cashflowdiary.tv and participate in the chat room. And when you're in the chat room, I have the ability to obviously read your chats and what it is that you're saying over here. And what that'll give us the ability to do is to communicate. So hopefully that helps in a lot of ways. Let's dig in. I see guest Jay, can you direct me to hard money lenders in Tennessee? Cindy, I unfortunately don't have the ability to direct you to hard money lenders because I personally don't primarily use them per se. I tend to raise all of the capital, whether that's in Tennessee, whether it's in California, it doesn't really matter. The point is, the hard money lenders is just one source of capital. It's not always the source that you should use. Definitely, there are other ways to go out there and get the capital that you might need in order to make that. When you make that work? So just keep that in mind. I see another question in the chat room. It is, what is that? Hi Jay, how do you wholesale a deal when your customer is a retail buyer? Oh, God. I don't know if you guys saw my face change on that one. Okay, so all right. So let me just show you this right here. All right. So what we've got is, the first thing is, who do you want to serve? And this is one of the paramount fundamental questions that we teach and talk about inside of all of our courses, especially our wholesaling course. Who do you want to serve? Once you know that, then you have a shot at being able to build the rest of your business. But in general, I always say that there's three types of customers, right? Three types of customers. You got the retail, right? You've got the speculative customer, or in this case, the fix and flip. And then you got the investment customer, which is in this case buy and hold. Okay. And what guest 604 is asking is, how do you wholesale a deal to a retail buyer? Now, the question you really should be asking, remember it always starts with IMTD, is that who I want to serve? Or am I just trying to get a deal done? Now, at the end of the day, wholesalers are going to be best here, and realtors are going to be best here. So at the end of the day, I tend to recommend that if you're trying to sell to a retail buyer, let the realtors do that. That's what they're designed for, because there's so many choices that go into trying to wholesale something to a retail buyer. I mean, just think about it. When you're shopping for a place to stay, you don't really know. You're really concerned about the characteristics of the house, whereas with the fix and flippers or the buy and holders, they're more concerned about other things outside of the characteristics of the house that can make more houses fit. So typically, I'm going to say don't retail. So that's how you do it. You don't do it, and you let the realtors do what realtors do best. That doesn't mean you couldn't. I'm just saying I think you're in for, it's already hard enough working with these two. Trying to wholesale to retail is tough. Leave that to the fix and flippers. In fact, they're pretty good at that. Get that building over to a fix and flipper and say, hey, Mr. Fix and Flipper, I got a buyer over here who would love to move in. How about you buy this from me as a wholesale deal and you just move on? That's pretty much the way I would likely handle that one. So probably not the answer you wanted, but there you go. Let's see. I know I have, there he goes. Oh, hey, Chase. Let's see. Jay, I found a house that the owner is looking to fix and flip. He also does wholesale and could be a potential buyer in my network. Okay. His property would fit perfect in my portfolio of investments if I could get it at the right price. But how at all would you change your offer on a property if it is received by someone you want to maintain a good working relationship with? I wouldn't change my I'm not going to let emotions drive my decision. So that's really what you're asking. Regardless of the quality of the relationship, we're still going to follow the same formula. Because I've done that already. I've made that mistake. So let's try not to do that one, okay? Follow the same formula. Keep to the disciplines. Maybe you can't get the deal done. Oh, well, no big deal. But if you can, great. If you're concerned about offending them, then that's probably something you're going to have to work out in terms of an internal struggle, grow personally, that personal growth types of things, which is hyper important. In fact, just as a reminder to some of you have already registered for the upcoming negotiations class, and a lot of what Chase is talking about definitely has a lot to do with that. So the upcoming negotiations class this Saturday, so right after Black Friday, boom, negotiations, 4 hours. And we're going to be talking about things exactly like that. When you're in the mind of the seller and you're worried about all the wrong stuff, how it skews your ability to negotiate properly, because at the end of the day, that is not your concern. So let's see. Don's got some good questions here. All right, let's see. I like the idea of having customers lined up for the properties I find. That's good. It may be conservative, but also smart. I think it's conservative way to go. I want to be a buy and hold investor eventually. Okay. The buy and hold category also has a fixed element to it as well, as these properties will most likely have to be worked on to achieve its in-use value. Is that not true? Not always. As a wholesaler of buy and hold, I'm guessing the fixing will be left to the holder, correct? Yes, that is exactly right. You got it perfect, Don. This is exactly right. So sometimes, buy and hold is one of those strategies where you could actually buy at a retail outlet and it not be that big of a deal. So the whole thing what is important is to understand that it doesn't have to be bought at a discount. Whew, sorry. So you may be in a position, Don, when what it comes down to is what you buy is something that needs a little teeny bit of rehab. It doesn't have to need a whole lot, or it could need a little bit more. And each one of your buyers, so each one of the buy and hold people, they're comfortable with a certain amount of rehab. Now, you don't know what that is until you ask, but you got to find out, etc. But at the same time, that doesn't mean all of them are going to have that characteristic. Not by no means. It doesn't have to, but they could. So at the end of the day, you could be in a situation in which they have absolutely no rehab needed. But again, obviously, that's a little bit more rare than buying the problems and finding, you search for problems, not properties. So in our world, when we're searching for problems, not properties, we're likely going to find the ones that are, need a little bit of extra work. So let me see. Question number 2, it says, do you think a person can learn any talent, or that people are just suited to things like innate strengths and weaknesses? Got it. Here's what I will say. And I will say this. There is no talent of which you and I do not have the rudiment, meaning the least amount. We have the least amount of every talent on the planet. Now, some of us can develop certain talents easier than others. Some of us have different intelligences as well. Some of us are more kinesthetically intelligent. We're really good with our bodies. We have the ability to move well. These typically become athletes and individuals like that. They go down the path of least resistance. Now, just because they go down the path of least resistance doesn't mean they can't one day become a PhD or a physicist if they also have that talent or wish or choose to develop. Human beings by nature, in my opinion, are fundamentally tool creators, and we create the tools that help us to develop the leverage. And the only reason we ever create the tools is because there's a little bit of something that we're missing, and we need a little bit push forward. And therefore, yeah, can you develop? Sure, but you may not be able to develop it to the fullest and best use. It may not be the highest and best use of your time. And here's the key. Try to find individuals who play at the things you work at. John Assaraf says this all the time. Find the individuals that play at the things that you work at. So for me, detail, paperwork is something that I have to work at. It takes focus, concentration, shut off the lights, and focus on this document to make sure that I put my name in the right spot and all the things are in order, et cetera, et cetera. But there are some of you out there who you're like, really? It takes all that? It's not that big of a deal. And you see, like if you have ever read a magazine or a website, especially mine, right, and seen a typographical error and noticed it, you're this person. I'm not that guy. That doesn't mean you can't learn other talents. And the reason I say that is because naturally, guys, I'm introverted and shy. If you take me to a party, like this time of year is actually a very, very stressful time of year for me because my wife is more extroverted than myself. And she likes to, hey, let's go to this party and let's go to that party. And I'm just like, great. More people I don't know with more people I don't know. That's not exactly on my like list of things to do. So it actually takes me getting in the mental mindset of doing it. At the same time, there are adaptive personalities that are sometimes required in order for us to be able to achieve the things that we want. It's not okay. It's one thing to recognize that you're weak at something, and that's fine. It's another to be voluntarily stay weak. That's the part I'm really not okay with, because sometimes we use that as an excuse. Oh, I'm too short and therefore I can't do X. Incorrect. Or I'm too tall, or I'm too female, I'm too black, I'm too white, I'm too whatever, and I can't do this. I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't know the language. All of these things are things that often get in our way. And again, when we're afraid, any excuse will do. So let's just always remember that when we're afraid, we look for those things that'll give us the way out so that we don't have to push forward and become something more that we were honestly, I think, created to be. And without the struggle, the butterfly doesn't actually fly. Keep that in mind. So, number 3, how does tax on a portfolio income compare to passive income? Got it. Portfolio income, for those of you who understand what she's talking about, there's 3 different types of income. There's the active income. This is typically where you go to work, etc., or earned income. Then you have the portfolio income. This is typically the income that you use with paper assets or in that particular sense. And then passive income, which is typically derived from things like real assets, a business, or owning the business, not the stock in the business. You're the owner operator in some way, shape, or form, those types of things, or real estate, etc. Also, other forms could be royalties as well, and there are dividends. We could take this down to many different levels. Here's the point. Again, I also have to give the disclaimer. I'm not your tax guy. You guys know that, right? You heard me say it. So at the end of the day, passive income is the least taxed, typically. Now, our current administration may change these things in various ways. So, that stuff as of right now, today, what you and I are talking about, passive income is still where it's at. It's got a lot of the best benefits, and its base tax level starts very, very low and can get as low as, 0. Not that you couldn't do those things with other types of income, like portfolio or active. It just takes more work to make that happen. So just keep that in mind, and you'll be safe as you move forward. Number 4, how might I approach a property manager in an area I am interested in? I saw the stuff in the book with the interview questions. Good. I guess I want advice in making cold calls to managers out of my area to find about trends, and also advice on what I want to know from them. Got it. All right. Dawn, when it comes to trying to understand how to build the property managers, as you saw the sheet in the course, that's what you want to know. So those are the interview questions. The interview questions are what you want to know. As far as finding the trends, All of that work it's interesting that as a wholesaler that you're interested in these things. So I find that interesting. It's interesting to me anyway. And as far as making cold calls to managers, you just go to the National Association of Residential Property Managers and or Active Rain and find them and call them. I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to be clear about what trend that you're asking about. So you don't call them and say, hey, can you tell me about the trends in your area? That makes no sense. But you should also have a business purpose. And that's probably the biggest thing people miss when it comes to working with team members is that they don't yet have a business purpose. They're calling well ahead of the cycle. They haven't put in an offer. They don't have an LOI. They've got nothing accepted. They just saying, hey, can you tell me about your marketplace? Can you at least give me a business reason why I would want to invest my time with you? Yeah, you're kind of pseudo. It's a soft promise of future business down the road, but can you at least give me some hope that that's a possibility with you? Are you in escrow with something? And that's typically where I would teach to go build the team. Because I don't care about building the team. There's no need to build a team if you don't have a deal that is possible in that particular marketplace. So typically, we're going to use other tools, Reese Reports, CBRE, City Data, BLS.gov, a lot of free stuff to go out there and find out what's going on in a marketplace before we start getting on the phone and asking people for their time. All right, let's see what else we got. What's that? Mike Fish, off the wall question, how many hours of sleep do you get a day? It's funny that you asked that, Mike. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I've been going through a number of different of these. This is one of those quantitative tracker thingies. And on average, Mike, I get around 6 hours and 10, 20 minutes a night. So there you go. I happen to know that answer because it tracks my sleep. So that's pretty much where it is. I also know if I get less than 4.5 hours, I'm going to be an absolute train wreck. So somewhere between 4.5 is the absolute minimum. It's hard for me to sleep past 7 hours. I just can't. But so right in that 6 hour range is when I tend to get up. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you in some way, shape, or form. That wasn't off the wall question. Hey, Step J, do you work with apartment locators? And if so, what do you pay them? I've never worked with an apartment locator. Remember, hold on. When you say an apartment locator, you're talking about tenant placement. I thought you were talking about someone to find me the building. Okay, so as far as getting people to bring me tenants, oh, absolutely, all day long. Remember, if I'm starting with a vacant building, that's called a problem, especially once it's mine. So yeah, at the end of the day, if they can it depends on how fast I want to fill it up. So I've given half months. I think I've given even as much as a full month's rent to them. That much I can definitely remember either one of those. It just depends on how fast we need to get that done. I know I've given bonuses like to my on-site people as well for referrals. We'll do, at the end of the day, it's a marketing cost, right? So you could run the ad expense, you could run the application expense, you could run all that time. But if I can save time by paying someone a little bit more, I'd rather save that time because every day I'm vacant, every minute, every second that unit is vacant is a minute that I can't get back. That's my inventory. As a buy and hold investor, time is our inventory. And we have to think of it that way. And if we fail to think of it that way, going, oh, well, I don't want to spend money. Okay, cool. You gave up something way more important, time. So spend the money, please. The time can't come back. There's no, hey, time is on back order. That doesn't happen. You need to go get that unit filled as quickly as humanly possible. So let's see. Oh, Eric had a question right here. Let's see. Eric has a question. Should we have a real estate attorney draft up the purchase agreement after the letter of intent is signed? Yeah, that's a very sound way of getting it done. Absolutely. You could do that, or you could also take it straight to escrow. But yeah, sure, absolutely. Have a real estate attorney draft up the purchase and sale agreement. Absolutely, 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 especially in commercial. How do you find the list of properties and pre-foreclosure and contact information, owner name and address when working remotely? Is it better to send a letter or call? Got it. So Eric, as far as how to find those lists of properties, there's notice of defaults, Liz pendants. A lot of that information is absolutely public for you to look up. And when they're in registries like that, they typically have name and address. What they typically don't have is a phone number. Now, is it better to send a letter or call?
People have called me impatient, so I prefer to call. Again, remember, oftentimes I think a strong reason people want to invest so much time in yellow letters, and there's nothing wrong with it. It works. Everything works, nothing doesn't. But I think the reason most people want to do it that way is so that they can feel like they did something, and without having to feel the fear of, hey, no one called me back, no one picked up the phone, they didn't yell at me. I want to shortcut that and get to the no as soon as humanly possible. If I send a letter, I got to wait 5 days. Hopefully you didn't throw it in the trash. And I got to send 2,000 letters to hopefully maybe get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 phone calls, maybe 20 if I'm lucky, right? And then when those 20 come in, it's always going to be at an inconvenient time, because it's not like I'm just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. So there's so much money and expense that went into customer acquisition. That was never my way of doing things. Inside of our leads course, I just show you strategy after strategy after strategy of how to do low to no cost lead generation for buyers and sellers, because I didn't have the benefit of sending out a letter. So a letter was never something I perfected. I always found ways to find their phone number, track them down. You can call me a stalker if you'd like. Hey, got deals done. That's what mattered. Let's see. Tyler, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, I put your iPad in the mail. I don't know when it'll get to you because you live on the other side of the country, but it's on the way. That much I do know. I do know that it is on the way. So, Jay, can you suggest a few tips to increase the number of Cashflow 101 players besides Meetup? Sure, besides meetup.com. I wish I had it with me right now. But for those of you who are already members of the Cashflow Diary Founders membership, or you have access to our training materials on Cashflow, how to do the invite process, we're actually going to be creating some flyers. It's simple flyers, by the way, Tyler. Simple flyers is really flyers with the photos and the maps and all this stuff, the information, make a huge difference. And what's funny is that people bring it with you. Another thing that if you look, Tyler, at what we did, and I'll show you again here on the screen. So, all right, so you go to cashflowdiary.com because we're doing a cash flow game, right? You know that. So what ends up happening is we have it, boom, right here. And right now, you click right here to, it's an event page in Eventbrite. That's another place, because Eventbrite has natural traffic that is also going to be there for you as well. So you can have the ability to have the traffic, or to have just, again, print out tickets. But Eventbrite has traffic. Obviously, meetup.com has traffic. You want to begin to coordinate those things. And then obviously, Facebook, right? They've got traffic too, like crazy. And so you're going to put the information there. The more places you put it for free, the more places you get it in front of, the better. Well, here's another place that has lots of traffic. And guess what? They have an events section. So that's going to be another place that you might want to consider drafting traffic from. These people are typing in cash flow and looking for things all across the places, and everything that I just showed you is absolutely at no cost. Let me show you a cost strategy. If you happen to have a whole bunch of local numbers already, so say you have an email list, right? Say you have an email list and all you want to do is try to call all 500 or 5,000 people. Here's a service that I've used in the past, VoiceShot. All it does is outbound calls. You set the phone number, you send it out. What happens is it tells everybody all at once. So all of these methods are a way of promoting and making it known that you've got something going on. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that helped. All right. Let's see. Dawn, thank you. That was helpful. Are those references you gave out to find trends somewhere in the course material? They are not, Don, in the course material for wholesaling, because knowing that information as a wholesaler is typically not necessary, and it's more the diligence required for the buyer than the wholesaler. So that's why it's not there. We have it in our multifamily courses because that's typically where we go deep into the marketplace selection. However, Don, if you should have access, and let me show everybody while I'm thinking about it. So Don, I do know what I can tell you is if you go here, because you have access to our, oh gosh, that's large. There we go. You have access to our wholesaling course, right? So as you are going through, and hey guys, this is what the wholesaling course looks like. So you're going through the wholesaling course, et cetera, and it's talking about growing your investor list in this particular case. And here are the lessons. Obviously, you know that you can download the information here. But Don, look right here with me. So you guys see all the different types and courses, materials that we purchase or produce. So under the bonus material, you probably have this, the market analysis videos, Don. So watch this video. It's about, I don't know, was it an hour, 2 hours? Whatever it, oh, it's an hour. Okay, so it's an hour long, and it comes with a lot, I say and repeat in more detail, a lot of the resources that you would need in order to make that happen. So for those of you that are customers watching, if that's something that you want to know, that's definitely something you should go look at. Okay, another one over there. Okay, give me 1 second. James, sup Jay? Do you have any experience in the Canadian marketplace? We didn't have the same property crash in 2008. Nope. And I'm debating on diving into the U.S. market even though I live in Montreal. Would you suggest finding deals locally versus the hot markets I hear about in the U.S.? Got it. James, here's what I can tell you that is on trend. A number of your Canadian friends are calling me. We've done deals with a number of them, either on commercial or residential apartment buildings. For that very reason. So what I know about the Canadian marketplace is exactly what you just said. You guys didn't experience the crash, and your pricing is still redonkulous. And that makes it a challenge for a new person to get into the market. So that's what I would say. You know, you've got to see where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And at the end of the day, the main reason most of us invest in our backyard is because we don't have a system, we haven't built it, or we don't have access to someone else's system that allows us access to other marketplaces. So that's an investor identity question. You just got to decide, which would you prefer to do? Which one are you going to be emotionally comfortable with? Are you going to be bugging the syndicator, or are you going to be bugging the team every 15 seconds because you can't go drive by the property? And if that's you, it doesn't really matter what the numbers are doing because, you probably should stay local if that's where you're going to be. All right. Let me see. Let's go to the next question. When is a good time to set up an LLC for investors? I'm not clear from watching the video the answer. I assume the answer is immediate, but not 100% clear. Please clarify. Absolutely, Omar. Okay, so guys, what Omar is referring to, I believe he's looking at our Raising Private Capital course, and because I get the question, how and when do you set up that LLC? First of all, remember, I'm not the attorney. Here's what I will say. When you're using investors, it's almost always going to be an immediate answer, because you got to protect them, especially if you're the syndicator or promoter. You have a fiduciary responsibility that could be unlimited in the wrong situation. So you need to make sure that everybody gets protected. So the entity in itself needs to have some sort of asset protection wherever the money is going or whatever is holding the asset. How you structure it beyond that is going to be a great conversation for your SEC attorney, as well as your real estate attorney, as well as your corporate formation attorney. So you may have to need 3 different types of attorneys to put this thing together. And a lot of those attorneys, by the way, just so you know, practice in all 3 of those areas. So you may only need 1 person, but just understand that that's the type of input and advice that you're looking for. So most of the time when you're dealing with other investors, the answer is darn near immediate. So hopefully that helps make that decision. Was there another one there? No? Okay. Chase, again, how do you know when you have gone from the action step and transitioned into the habit step? Oh, wow. I've never gotten that question, Chase. That's a good one. All right. So let me show everybody what Chase is referring to, or at least what I think he's referring to. That's a new question. That doesn't happen every day. So inside of our bonus materials, I have right here, Cash Flow Foundation. It's part 1 of 3 of the Cash Flow Foundation, or Cash Flow Creation System. Literally how to go from zero to hero, build your business in a shorter period of time than you ever thought possible. And what he's talking about is what I call the process of becoming, and the process to becoming. And when that happens is that you're going through stages in order to get to a point until something that you are doing that was that's an action becomes an absolute habit. Now, here's the difference, Chase. So here's the fundamental difference between that action and between the habit. The habit, you really don't have to think about. See, earlier in the same course materials, we talked about the 4 levels of learning. This is that section when you switch from having to think about what it is that you're doing to just being able to doing it. You just know that that's what you do. You don't have to, it's not a conscious, oh, let me go do this. It's a, oh, it just becomes part of your daily routine. Like for some of you, if you're like me, the idea of going to Starbucks is not really that, you don't resist it. You just go because it's part of your routine. Or hugging your kids, it's part of your routine. It's sometimes you think about it, hey, I should go hug them, but a lot of the times you just do it. It's just what it is, right? For some of you, here's a good one. Coming here, if we don't send an email, you won't make it. For others of you, you have it in your calendar. Hey, it's time for the show, and you guys are here early. In fact, you're the ones who knew that we started late. You're like, oh yeah, what's going on? Something's not right. So all of those things, that's the difference. And when you know, it has to do with the amount of mental power that goes into actually remembering to do whatever that thing is. What is it that made some of you guys motivated and inspire you to do something about it? Got it. So, Chase, I love the question. Because at the end of the day, motivation is external. And then something has to get internalized to become inspiration, especially to take you past those days when you're tired of perspiration, right? Or you feel like you're working, you're slogging through, you're making no progress. And for every person, it's something different. But here's the thing. I guarantee you, it's got to be something emotionally driven. Otherwise, you quit way too early. You give up on yourself. You don't seek the help you needed, or even worse, you won't actually make the commitments when the help arrives. Because oftentimes we'll say, I need a mentor. Okay, cool. The mentor shows up. They say, here's what you got to do. And you're like, I don't want to do that. That means a couple of things. You're not teachable. You're not trainable. Probably haven't suffered enough yet, or you're just not really clear on what it is that you actually want to get done. And that becomes a challenge. That becomes a challenge for the mentor, becomes a challenge for you, becomes a challenge for everyone in that situation. As you know, what drove me was I needed to eat. I mean, most of you watching hopefully have never had the experience or the challenge of, hey, how am I going to eat? It was easy for you. You didn't think about it. You eat. And when that became a reality of, okay, how's that going to work? How's that going to happen? Man, it changes the level with which you're willing to play the game. You play at a completely different level because you know what's on the line. There's a film out there, Cinderella Man. And if you want to get some background on that idea, you can definitely watch that, or The Pursuit of Happiness. If you take those 2 movies, put them together, you got my life for all intents and purposes. There it is. Boom, right there. And it's got to be something that drives you. And if you say, well, I don't need anything, cool, then it's not about you, and that's fine. And I've run into a number of those individuals. It doesn't always have to, what drives you doesn't have to be about you. It just has to drive you. So for, today, there was a time a couple years ago where I had hit about 117 units, and I had hit this plateau. I was like, what am I doing? Why bother? We're good. But I was bored. And I needed something else to drive me. And what happened is that I forgot who it was, but someone said to me, then maybe it needs to become about somebody else and who else you can help, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's see if I can teach this stuff and help somebody. Let's see if that's possible. Let's see if I have the ability, and find that out. And that has turned into everything you guys get to experience. And that's just the process. And that's what keeps me going. What keeps me going is knowing that you, Chase, well, one day in the not too distant future, you keep up at the pace you're going, you keep changing at the rate you're changing, you're going to be in a position in which you have what I call your shut up check. That check that tells everybody to shut up, leave you alone. He knows what he's doing. He can earn money at this. It's okay. And that's, I see that for you. I see that, and I saw it for many of the people. I saw it for Tyler, and Tyler, he's been able to make that happen. I've seen it for Ray. I've seen it for Omar. I see it, Sep, all of you guys. That's what keeps me going. That's why I like seeing the post in the group. Hey, this is what I just did today. This is where I'm making progress. Even if you've not gotten a deal yet, you're making progress, and that stuff gets me excited. to keep trying. Maybe I should try this, and maybe I got to teach them that, and maybe, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about this, and that's why the negotiations class is coming up, because I forgot. I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I did learn some things. I better share them. And those individuals this Saturday, that's what we're going to talk about. All of that stuff. I didn't know that I knew until I started trying to document it all and going, oh my gosh, I'm not done yet. That's the crazy part. And watching those who consume it and use it go out there and change their life. That's what gets me really excited every day. Let's see. Do we have another question? Yep, there we go. Marguerite, where can I get funding for an apartment complex? You're going to raise it with a credit score below 400. Doesn't matter. See, very simple question. Are there people that you know that are willing to be on my team? The people that I had are no longer interested in real estate investing. Additionally, I had the most real estate experience. Are there people that you know that are willing to be on my team? Probably not, Marguerite, because the people that I know are pretty much sold on the vision that I've cast out, and what you've got to do is become a bigger, better, badder leader. And that's going to take some personal growth. That's going to take some work for you to develop the vision so that you can attract those individuals to you. That's my guess. I don't really know, but that's definitely my guess. Definitely something if I were you, that I'd want to check out. Can you assist me to negotiate the deal for an 8 to 20 unit complex? That's Marguerite. That's exactly what we're doing inside of our multifamily course. Those are mastermind group right now. So it's a live mastermind group. We're meeting once a week, and we're giving them the tools and resources to negotiate their deals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So give us a call, send us an email, info@cashflowdiary.com, and say multifamily course. We'll talk about it and see if we can still get you in there, because I think we're on week 4 already. So there you go. Jessica, the fear of failure, not knowing how to handle it, and learning how to be wise with money in our life. Yeah, I got you, Jessica. That's a big one. Whoops. That's a big one. So, wow. Well, the fear of failure is definitely something that happens to all of us. The fear of failure, fear of looking stupid. You can't learn and look good at the same time. And you don't know how to reconcile those things. We don't have enough practice with it, unfortunately. And that's probably one of my biggest frustrations with the school system. The biggest thing that frustrates me when I'm as someone who is working to educate others on how to go out there and do real estate is the fact that the school system, for how many ever years you were a part of it, trained you and me to go, if we can't get it right the first time, then we are wrong, we're less than, we don't fit in, and something's broken. Don't ask for help, because that's called cheating. So you should be able to get it right on your own the first time, and you don't get do-overs. Well, in business, it's exactly the opposite. You need a whole ton of help, and yet we haven't had any practice on how to ask for it. And getting it wrong is what leads to eventually getting it right. In fact, all you got to do is go listen to some of the original first episodes of the podcast at cashflowdiarypodcast.com. Go listen and tell me if you see or hear, rather, a difference in my voice, and a difference in the production quality, and a difference in all those other things. The difference was, we were willing to get it wrong first so that we could eventually, hopefully, make corrections to get it right. And at the end of the day, it's all about the destination so much. It's all about the path and the journey more than it is the getting it right on the first time through. You don't learn much that way. You don't become of value to more people unless, keywords, you get it wrong a whole lot. And once you've gotten it wrong a whole lot, then you have something to share. Hey, don't do this, because this worked. And when people come to you, here's the way I think it should go. Well, you probably had that experience too, and you can share with them, hey, I tried that. Didn't you read my ebook? I said, here's the things not to do. And therefore you become of more value to people. So my admonition, if you will, is go get more things wrong faster. Fail forward, fail fast, fail frequently. That's what I'm always asking people to do. And this is why, because you'll go out there, you'll have some experiences. And I don't really care if it's positive or negative. That's an interpretation issue. It's all about going out there and having those experiences and then using them to leverage into the future. So as I've said before, I say again, you do your first deals for experience, not profit, and then later you get to profit from your experience. As far as learning how to be wise with money, the only way, again, is it's very simple. Go mess up. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're just not. The first time you earn, and I'm just making up numbers, guys. The first time you earn $20,000 in a month, you're probably not going to get it right. I'm not saying you're going to ever, but the first time that happens, it's probably not going to go right. First time you earn 6 figures in a year, probably not going to go right. First time you earn 6 figures in a month, probably really not going to go right. It's fine. Those things they happen. It's part of the process. It's part of the journey on who it is that you're looking to become. At the end of the day, it's got to make those small corrections on the way. You can't hope that I'm never going to make a mistake. Otherwise, you'd never leave the house. I mean, could you imagine? Like what if you never left the house until you knew the exact perfect way to eat at steak anymore? We're way too comfortable for far too long. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. At the end of the day, you understand this. When you fail, it has nothing to say about you. It's just something that happened. It's an event. Like someone just posted in there, reminded me. It's just an event. It's what happened. All the stuff that you go through, it's just an event. It's no big deal. So, if you got another question, though, now's the time. I'll sit here because I was late. I know. I'm sorry. So what I'm willing to do is to give you, I'm going to be here. I'm not trying to jet out on you guys. I want to make sure that I get a shot at answering your questions. I'm sorry, what?
It froze up, but I'm not sure if it's just a streaming issue or what.
Okay. I don't know. Jacob said refresh your page. Hey guys, hopefully you can still see me. This is the fun part of live. Yeah, okay, good. See, Tyler says, what is that? What I learned in the wholesale class has resulted in realtors bringing me deals to consider for creative options. Thank you. You're welcome, Tyler. That's also fun. I can attest to the fear of failure. Happened to me today. Just learn to jump that hurdle one day at a time. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. There's no other way to learn, one day at a time. You don't know. I mean, if I don't know. I wouldn't have tried for a commercial building if I was afraid of failure, because I had never done that before now. But now I know a whole lot more. And guess what? The next commercial building will go a lot smoother than the first one. Just will, because of that. And that's what makes you more valuable, are those errors in judgment. That's where wisdom comes from. Errors in judgment that you've learned how not to do next time. Just as a reminder, cashflowdiarypodcast.com. For those who haven't been there, feel free to go there, download, listen. Also, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we are still doing the the Cashflow game giveaways, cashflowdiary.com/game/game. And you'll go ahead and is where you get a shot at entering to win a copy of the new game live in Orange County. We still have room for people, okay? I want more people there. And you can go to our website, cashflowdiary.com/events, or just go to cashflowdiary.com, click the events tab. The in-person game is $20. That includes a copy of the audiobook, which is more than $20 in and of itself. And then it will be there live broadcasting to the rest of the world. And for those of you who want to participate live, with the rest of us across the world. In fact, I was talking to someone, where was he? He's in Spain. And he's telling me, yeah, when is that game going? Spain. I'm like, what? That's awesome. I don't speak Spanish, but it doesn't matter, I guess. Cash flows, crosses waters and borders of all kinds. So it's just pretty neat to know that people know about it, and I assume people will be there. From 11 to 2 Pacific time, is what we're going to do. So you guys, if you're not out there spending money, let's go learn how to make some, because it will definitely be fun. Let me see. Marvin, have you, meaning me, ever purchased a first mortgage note that is non-performing on a non-performing property? No. Marvin, not a game that I want to play. So for those that are wondering, so you can buy the mortgage. So instead of just owning the house, in fact, let me draw this out. Whoops, wrong screen. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, there we go. So when you do a real estate transaction, RE transaction, and I'm just going to keep it hopefully as simple as I possibly can. There's the buyer. Here's the seller. Okay. And then here's the little, I'm not an artist, so don't be judging, all right? Don't hate. There's the little house. And what ends up happening is that typically over here, so sometimes what you can do is that the seller can hold the note which says that the buyer is going to make payments monthly in exchange for the house, right? This note right here actually is valuable in and of itself as a tradable, negotiable instrument. And what Marvin is saying is asking me is, hey Jay, have I ever purchased a note where the buyer had stopped paying on the house? And the answer is no. It's not something I've ever really wanted to pursue. Personally, if I'm going to buy the note, I want to buy it for the cash flow. It's just my identity. There's nothing wrong with, doing non-performing notes. In fact, I'm in networking groups and whatnot with people who do it all the time. They make an entire business out of it. Yeah, just not the area that I choose to play in, but that's why I choose not to play in them. It's because of the extra work involved in terms of finding the note, buying the note, working it out with the owner or tenant or whoever's there in order to move that process and that puppy forward. Now, when you do, you tend to buy them at such significant discounts that, yeah, you get the loan to work out. It's probably a good idea for you. You can make a decent amount of money making that happen. Omar has a question. Let's see. How do you manage your time for analyzing deals? How much time do you spend weekly analyzing deals? My challenge is coming back and following up with agents for information, plugging numbers in my spreadsheet and sending LOIs. I'm averaging 2 to 3 LOIs a month and planned to send my third tonight. Well, that's just not enough, Omar. That's the problem. The funny thing is that we literally, I don't know if anyone in the multifamily group is actually live here today, but what's funny is that this is exactly what we were just doing, and I showed them how to make a go, no-go decision in, I think it was like 30 seconds. So we don't spend a whole lot of time analyzing deals. The only thing I want to analyze are things in escrow. I don't really want to analyze a deal to find out if I should write an offer. I should write an offer. So long as I want to buy, I should write an offer. That's done. The only question is does it even have a shot at working? So you got to develop metrics that make it very, very easy, equations that make it very, very easy that you can apply across the board regardless of property type and asset class to say, yeah, this is worth it, or no, it's not. And then when you have that, you can make decisions in 30 seconds or less. And that's the fun part. So let me give you a little bit of understanding of what I mean. And I'm just going to do it really, really fast, so hopefully you're paying attention, Omar. All I'm going to do is I'm just flying over to LoopNet. Now, that doesn't mean that this is where I buy property from. So let me think. Let me think of a state that I've never been in. Kansas. Never been to Kansas. So I am assuming they have apartment buildings and people in Kansas. I don't know. Let's find out together. Oh, look. Blue Jay Apartments. That's funny. Jay. So 37 units, $2 million. So here's a very hyper quick analysis that I'm going to roll out to see if this even begins to make sense. So it's going to take me longer to get the calculator on my screen so that you can see it than it is going to take me to actually analyze, do I want to write an offer for this property? So here's what I'm going to do. Where did it go? $2 million. So I'm going to take the $2 million, boom, boom, boom. Oops, clear. Always clear the calculator first, Jay. Yep. 2 million times 1.5%, boom, $30,000. So that I need to see an income of at least $30,000 on this particular property. Let's find, okay, let me sign in. Good night. And I think it's this one, boom, boom. All right, so Let's see, 100% occupied, 8.3 cap. I don't care about any of that. So, boom, scheduled gross income is 249 on an annual basis. So let's take 249,762 and divide that by 12. I can already tell you what I'm going to do. Divide that by 12. Oh, look, 20 is less than 30. The answer is no. Next. Done. See, that's all I'm really going to do. The reason I do that is so that I can get a go, no-go decision from a buy and hold perspective. That's what I care about. I want to be able to buy this and hold this, and in order to do that, I need a monthly gross scheduled income that is approximately 1.5% of the asking or purchase price or whatever it is they think I need to purchase. Since they're telling me this is a done property, I shouldn't have to do anything. I'm just looking at $2 million. 2 million times 1.5 gives me 30. 30, should be 360, and because this property does not hit that 360, I'm done. I don't want to write an offer, but that doesn't mean I don't want to buy. Does that make sense? So the types of properties that I'm looking for, that's what they're going to do. If I want to be more aggressive, I can change that number. If I want to be more conservative, same thing. That's really all I'm going to do to begin to figure that out. So hopefully that helps you and saves you a whole lot of time, Omar. Awesome. All right, guys. So we are now at that hour where it's time to say goodbye to all my real estate friends. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Anyway, small kids, you know, these things happen. You should have seen it the other day. My son, he was actually trying to be Mickey Mouse, so he went and got diaper cream and put it all over his face until it was completely white. We got photos because that's going to be used later. Anyway, is there a question? Does it matter if I'm using financing? Nope, doesn't matter. After that go, no-go scenario, how do you decide what to offer? It's all based upon, you're going to come up with your maximum allowable offer by figuring out what it is that you need to actually begin to put into play to actually make the asset perform at the level that you want it. Again, from a buy and hold perspective or a multifamily perspective, you're going to look at a number of different factors, but primarily you're going to take out the purchase price, transaction costs, reserve requirements, any promote fee that you want to earn, as well as rehab, and boom, you're going to be left with that magic number. Lots of questions today. Hopefully that helps. I'm glad that you guys take the time to invest here with us. It's definitely fun for me to be here. Hopefully it's fun and educational for you as well. As a reminder, you can go to cashflowdiarypodcast.com. If you haven't already, register yourself for the Cashflow game online or live, and then definitely give yourself a shot at winning one of the Rich Dad Company's Cashflow games that they just came out with by going to cashflowdiary.com/game. I look forward to talking to all of you guys soon. Until next time.